So if you've been looking to build a new construction home here in 2024, we are going to be breaking down the three most common misconceptions for financing a new construction build. So once again, we brought on our preferred lender, Manny with Centennial Bank, who is also our approved lender for our custom home building company, Jane Development Group. And we are going to be talking a little bit about kind of what we have been getting asked very frequently from customers and clients about getting new home loans. So Manny, I appreciate you taking the time and sitting down with us to kind of break down a lot of these questions that clients give us in terms of, what to expect when getting a loan and some things that they bring up to us that maybe they saw on other YouTube videos, or maybe they saw on TV, or they read an article, whatever that may be. But we're going to talk a little bit about kind of how the loan process works in relative terms to Sarasota County and the general area here in Southwest Florida. So
Absolutely.
what would you say is kind of like the first major misconception that you get asked or you get inquired about for a new home loan?
Absolutely. Well, first, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure. I'd say the biggest misconception right now is down payment. For some reason, people believe that to build, you have to have a large down payment,
Sure.
which is your standard 20% down.
Right.
And that's a very, very big myth. That's not the truth. The reality of it is that you can get away with a primary home as low as 15% down, but your land can actually be considered as down payment. So sometimes people may own the land outright. They may have owned it for over a decade. In that case, we will use the value of that land as down payment. Also, if they don't own the land, that they can still purchase the land, and that acts as down payment.
Of course. Yeah, and of course you guys do have obviously different terms when it comes to whether you own it for less than 12 months or more than 12 months, correct?
Right.
What does that look like right now?
Investors have these guidelines whether they've owned the lot for less than 12 months or more than 12 months. Excuse me. So our overlay is if they've owned it for more than 12 months, we can give them a value for what it's worth. If they've owned it for less than 12 months, we can only give them acquisition value.
Okay, so what they paid for basically.
Correct,
Right,
exactly.
okay. All right. So basically, let's just say they bought a lot for $100,000 under 12 months ago.
Correct.
You only can give them 100K.
Right,
Of
correct,
value.
correct.
But then let's say they bought it at $100,000 10 years ago. Now it's valued at 200,000.
Correct.
You would use the 200,000.
Correct,
Number, right?
correct.
Okay, cool.
Correct.
So we have that. So if you have land that acts towards or goes towards the part of your down payment for the loan, right? And then obviously you pay the difference.
Correct.
And you don't need 20% down. You
Right.
said you need 15% down
Correct.
minimum, obviously.
Minimum, correct, yeah.
Now that fluctuates depending on what you want for payment, mortgage payment.
Correct.
But it's definitely not just 20%. There's other options out there.
Correct.
And so what would you say now would be the second major misconception besides down payments?
I'd say the second misconception is that people believe that they'll have to start making payments on day one,
Right.
and that's a fully amortized payment of
Right.
principal and interest. And the misconception there is that you're really just paying interest only throughout the duration of construction. Your principal and interest payments will not kick in until that mortgage modifies from a construction loan to a 30-year fix. And typically that happens as early as 60 days prior to the completion of the home.
Okay.
Or when the certificate of occupancy is issued.
Sure. Okay. So it's basically an interest only loan. So I think a big thing is because a lot of clients ask us this is like, okay, well, what am I really going to be paying on, right? Am I paying, let's just say we have $1 million build, and let's just say that they have, $500,000 as a loan, right?
Correct.
So they did 50% down, whatever.
Right.
So let's just say they have that, right? So they're not paying on the full $500,000
No.
on the first month after they close.
Correct.
They only pay the interest on the money that is actually gets pulled out of that account
Correct.
that goes towards the build, correct?
is
So
correct.
let's say the first draw is $100,000.
Correct.
They only pay on that $100,000
Correct.
for the interest.
Correct.
And then let's just say a month later, then they have to, the builder takes another draw for, let's just say another $100,000.
Correct.
Now it's $200,000 that they pay on an interest only loan, and they're not paying on principal, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that's correct. Yeah.
So then obviously, like you said, when does it typically turn and flip to a conventional loan?
So typically 60 days from closing, or I'm sorry, from 60 days from completion.
Yep.
or when a certificate of occupancy has
Sure.
been issued. Part of the closing costs already accounts for the modification.
Right.
So it's the simple phone call.
Okay.
And we ask for the copy of the C of O, and then we just convert it to a 30-year note from that point on.
Okay, perfect. So besides down payment, interest-only payments, what would you say would be like the third biggest major misconception that a lot of people, think about?
Absolutely. I'd say the third big misconception is probably that they have to own the land. What people don't realize is you can go out there and buy the land, and we can roll it in with the construction as well.
Right.
Fundamentals will still apply. That lot will still count as a down payment. So you don't have to own the lot to actually build. We can finance the lot for you as well as the construction.
Okay. So let's just say, basically what you're saying is, say a client comes to us, me and my business partner, Josh, and says, hey guys, I'm looking to build a house with you and I want you to, I don't own the land yet, right? So can they still get the loan and say they're like, oh, well, I don't want to pay cash for the lot, right? Are you able to do land plus construction
Absolutely.
for the loan and not just straight up construction? Correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. We can definitely, at that point, there's going to be a lien on the land.
Right,
So the
of
land
course.
won't count as a down payment,
Right.
but we can incorporate it into one loan.
Okay,
Absolutely.
but it can be blanketed into
Absolutely.
together. Okay.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you can buy the land outright, own
Right,
it, and
correct.
then that goes towards your down payment
Absolutely.
for the 15, 20%, whatever,
Absolutely.
whatever you want
Absolutely.
to put down, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay, perfect. So what would you say are some biggest takeaways for people when it comes to getting financing on a new construction home here?
The biggest takeaways on financing, I would say that there's a big stigma that construction loans are complicated. They're more expensive. And those are myths. They are a little more complex. That is true. It is a little bit more involved, but it's not that much more complex. And if you're in good hands, then it should still feel seamless.
Sure.
And then, the fact that there's points and origination fees on all that. Not all loans have origination fees. In fact, our CP products right now have no origination points.
Okay, it's good to know. So if you guys are looking to build a new construction home here in Sarasota County, you guys, obviously, if you need to get financing for the build, I would definitely recommend that we talk to Centennial Bank and Manny at Centennial Bank, as we are approved builders with them too. So if you guys have any other further questions about financing, put them in the comments section down below. And if you guys are looking to make the move to Northport or the general area, we do have dedicated buyers relocation guides, along with, if you guys want to know all about the new construction market here in Sarasota, Northport, Venice, Osprey, the general Southwest Florida area, you guys can join our dedicated VIP email list down below. All the links are in the description, and I will also tag Manny's contact information in the description down below, so you guys can reach out directly to him for any financing questions that you guys may have. But once again, I appreciate you guys checking out this video, and we will catch you guys all next week.